Alright guys, this is the tutoring video for 6.3. As you can see here, when I did the homework, I just followed the instructions exactly, which was find the common denominator for the following fraction pairs. If you wanted to find the common denominator for these and write just common denominator equals like this one, and then do the math to actually convert those fractions, that would give you more practice and help you out quite a bit if you just want to get better at our next thing, which is comparing fractions and dealing with common denominators a lot. So I hope, by the way, as I say denominator, you're all doing the dance move that you all know you should be doing. So when I'm looking here, I just want to see what number these both go into. I'm looking for the lowest common multiple. So here I've got 5 goes into 10, so I know 10 is going to be my common denominator. That would be the bare minimum. You did the homework. Great. Love that for you. What I would love to see then is someone who takes it to the next level by saying, okay, I don't need to convert this one because it already has the common denominator of 10, but how can I change 4/5 to have that common denominator? So I'm going to take 4/5, I'm going to multiply it by 1 whole, and that's going to get me my common denominator of 10. But instead of just putting 1 whole in there, I want to put a fraction. 5 times what equals 10? 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, because I want to multiply by 1 whole, and 2 over 2 is equivalent to 1 whole. 4 times 2 is 8. And that is going to take it to the next level, because now I have 2/10 and 8/10, and I'm able to figure that out. If you can't remember how to find the common denominator, not only is this one that was in your homework, but remember we're counting by the numbers. I start with the smallest number, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I stop because I've counted by up to 5, so 4 times 5, and then I stop. I go to the next number, and I start counting by that number, 5, 10, none of these match, 15, doesn't match, 20, ooh, I have a match. These two both have 20, so that means my common denominator equals 20. My LCM is also 20. And then, once again, if you want to take it to the next level, 2/4, what am I going to have to multiply it by to get 20? And 4/5, what am I going to multiply it by to get to 20? And if you wanted to do this work on a separate sheet of paper, just to get that habit, do it. Trust me, doing this extra step is going to make it so the rest of this unit is so much easier. I want this to be nice and easy for you. And like I said before, in class, when we are multiplying by it, you've already done the math. Once you've listed those out, you've done all the math you need to do. Because 4 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is 20. And then 2 times 5, well, I come down here to 5, 1, 2, is 10. I've literally done all of the math I need to do. All I need to do is stay organized and keep it together. 4 times 4, if I don't know my math facts, I can look right there. Granted, you guys know your math facts. That's going to be easy. Like I said, the bare minimum, though, is finding that common denominator. So does 3 go into 12? It does. So my common denominator in this case is going to be 12. And then to prove my work, I would just count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, and then show that I have 12 in both. That's a totally reasonable thing to do. And with all of these problems, like I said, you can go through and just give me the common denominator, or you can go through and do that step above. Once again, I start with the smallest number. So on this problem, I'm starting with 6, and I'm going to count by 6s. I have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I know I'm running into there a little bit more. And then I'm going to count by 8. 8 doesn't match. 16 doesn't match. 24, ooh, I've got a match. So my LCM, which is the same thing as my CD, lowest common multiple is the same thing as my common denominator, equals 24. So I can move on there, or I can take it to the next level. This one, once again, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Once again, got up to times 5, 5, 10, 15. Found a match. Found the LCM, which is the same thing as my common denominator in this case. Now parents, if you're watching this video with your kids, you might be thinking, yeah, but I could multiply 3 times 5 to get a common denominator. You absolutely can. And on this one, yeah, I could multiply 3 times 6 and get the common denominator of 18. However, when I do that, you're going to have to reduce it more. If we start from the beginning with a common denominator that is the LCM, or the lowest common multiple, it's going to make it so we don't have to reduce as much. When we're looking here, I also have to do a lot less work because 3 goes into 6. I know my common denominator will be 6. I prove my work by showing the multiples. And now, if I do want to go that extra step, I only have to convert one of these. Whereas if I used 18, which like I said, absolutely a valid common denominator, it would mean that I'd have to convert both of these fractions instead of one. And as I constantly tell your children, I'm lazy. I don't want to do more work than I need to do. And so I'm going to make it so it's most convenient for me. Also, like I said, as they get older, once they get into 5th grade and start reducing those fractions, it's going to require more work if they used just the number that is multiplied. Sometimes it's easier, though, when you have a larger number that you're not so used to, but we'll see. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 12, 24. I knew my math facts. I knew 24 was going to be that common denominator, but I still wanted to count it out just to prove my work. Alright, I'm going to stop there for today just because I do not want to go over 10 minutes for this one. There are plenty of others. If you just go through and on one page do the common denominator for one, and on this page convert, great. However you want to do it, just so you can get into that habit. But remember, your only homework for today was the first page, problems 1 through 10. And all you needed to do was the common denominator. If you want extra practice and to take it to the next level, go ahead and start converting. It's going to make it so much easier when we get to those lessons later on. Thanks for watching, guys.